Police say it happened just after 2 here at the Exotic Tan for Men.
The middle of the day in a busy part of Nashville.
Well, I just saw people coming out, the tanning place or whatever.
A crime that would become part of Music City's history that few who lived in Nashville at the time would forget. Not the crime nor the 2 teenage girls, Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton, who were killed.
I want to find out what her last words were. I want some answers.
But a crime that many thought would be closed fast has become the toughest for the best detectives to solve.
We may go to a private lab with some DNA requests, that type of thing.
16 years later, a killer is still free. 2 young girls have not had justice, but time may be running out for the killer because this case is far from cold. It's heating up.
Do you ever worry you won't live to see it be solved?
The location of Exotic Tan for Men looks quite different now. Now it's Judge Bing's Vinegaroon. Back in 1996, Gail Chilton had no idea her daughter was working at Exotic Tan for Men until she got a phone call telling her that her daughter, along with Tiffany Campbell, had been murdered.
When they called, I said, no way, she's at college, there's just no way.
Melissa Chilton was 18 years old in 1996. Chilton's mother, Gail, remembers her as quiet, a good caretaker to her younger cousins, and a good daughter.
If I'd never had her, if I did not know what having a daughter was, it would be different, but I had her and I experienced it, so I've really missed her.
Exotic Tan was an adult entertainment business near 18th on Church Street. February 22nd, the owner went to the business after being unable to get Chilton or Campbell to answer the phone. The 2 teens were working in the building alone. That's when he discovered their bodies. They were stabbed multiple times.
And I was so naive that I had no idea that they didn't know who killed her, that they would not know who killed her for 16 years. Still don't know.
Sergeant Pat Postiglione works cold cases for Metro Nashville Police Department's Cold Case Unit.
I've been involved in interviews with different persons at a state recently within the last year, so we're actively following up on some leads.
But investigators need more. They need someone who knows what happened inside Exotic Tan for Men to come forward.
I know that there are witnesses that just don't realize that all it's going to take is a description.
Do you ever worry you won't live to see it be solved?
No, if I'm in the nursing home, y'all come get me.
Still to come.
Reevaluating some evidence and that type of thing. So this is something that's evolving right now.
On the case with Sergeant Postiglione, what's new and what it could mean to closing one of Nashville's biggest murder cases. For Nashville's News 2, I'm Joseph Pleasant.
The first time I heard about it was when the police called and told me they found her murdered.
At first, Gail Chilton thought it was a horrible mistake. Her daughter Melissa, along with Tiffany Campbell, was found stabbed to death inside Exotic Tan for Men, an adult business near 18th and Church Street.
I assumed Monday morning when I went to the police department that they knew who killed her and they were arrested.
Monday came, no arrest. Tuesday came and went, no arrest. A month, 6 months, then a year. Now 16 years later, still no arrest. Sergeant Pat Postiglione with Metro Nashville's Cold Case Unit is considered among the best. His work helped put serial killer Paul Dennis Reed on death row.
It is significant, the crime scene, how the victims were found. You always want to look at those types of things.
Judge Bing's Vinegaroon now sits where Exotic Tan for Men used to operate. Back in 1996, detectives felt pretty confident that the girls may have known their killer or thought they could trust him because they buzzed him past a locked door. February 22nd, 1996, Chilton and Campbell were working alone inside Exotic Tan for Men. Their killer arrived sometime in the late morning.
They would have conversations with the owner earlier in the day, which they did on this occasion, and they knew they've already had 3 or 4 customers.
But then in the middle of the day, at lunchtime, the girls stopped answering the phone. The owner found their bodies around 2 p.m.
You typically look for the relationships that the victims were involved in at the time of their death. Does that always lead you to a suspect? No. In this case, it did lead us to several suspects.
Suspects, but no arrests. Postiglione continues to do interviews. This past year, he traveled out of state to track a lead. But he admits this is one of his toughest cases. Over time, memories fade. People die. Like the owner of Exotic Tan for Men, he was killed in a car wreck in 2011. Sometimes, though, the passage of time can help investigators.
If, for example, 16 years ago, they may have defended that person and gave him an alibi or whatever. 16 years later, maybe they're no longer with that person. Maybe their relationship has changed drastically.
Technology also changes drastically. With DNA technology specifically, old evidence can yield fresh new clues. Still, though, one of the biggest tools are tips from the community.
Hopefully, if someone is out there who's been involved in this type of thing, he'll know that one day we're going to come pounding on his door.
Melissa's mother mourns twofold, one for the daughter she lost, but also for all the years lost since.
Well, I know that she would have children. All of her friends all have children, 2 and 3 kids. And I know that she would be a great mother.
Part of me wants to keep hanging on, part of me wants to cry. Not tonight, no, no.
I know in the city of Nashville that there's more than one person that know who killed Melissa. There are people that know what happened. I really beg them at this time to come forward because I think it's time.
For Nashville's News 2, I'm Joseph Pleasant.
Well, for the first time, I think you all have noticed I'm speechless.
Gail Chulton quietly placed a picture of her daughter Melissa on the table in front of her Thursday. Then, standing with Tiffany Campbell's mother and investigators, she heard words she has waited 17 years for.
Tonight, I'm pleased to announce the indictment of Patrick Lamont Streeter on 2 counts of premeditated first-degree murder.
Metro Police say Patrick Lamont Streeter attacked Tiffany Campbell and Chilton inside Exotic Tan for Men February 22, 1996. Streeter was once Campbell's boyfriend. In fact, early on, he was a suspect and was interviewed several times. But recently, scientific evidence was able to tie him to the murders and secure an indictment. Right now, he's in a California prison serving a sentence for robbery.
There has been a calmness that came with this. When I hung up the phone, I just felt calm. And it's like, I guess you could call it closure.
These mothers have been fighting for justice every day since their daughter's murders. At times, they wondered if anyone would ever be brought to justice.
I just want to thank everyone. I mean, it's been 17 years, and we take it day by day. And, you know, there's an end in sight for us.
It has not been an easy journey so far, but we're on a new path now that I look forward to, and I'll learn more.
Now the DA's office will take the case from the detectives who solved it for the next step towards justice, prosecution. More than 1,000 miles from Nashville in Carmichael, California, Patrick Streeter achieved one of his youthful dreams, coaching football here at Holy Jesuit High School. He was a walk-on assistant football coach in 2001 and part of 2002. According to the school, he never taught in a classroom. His only job here was to coach, which is commonplace at the private all-boys school. He left the position around the same time he was arrested and then later pled guilty in connection to a string of violent home invasions in 2002. Not far from the school.
My son plays sports. He plays baseball, basketball, and all the coaches have been great.
Julie Loeb's son is a sophomore athlete at Holy Jesuit. He was not here when Streeter was, but news of Streeter's charges in connection with the tanning bed murders still surprised her.
My thought was, things happen, people change. I mean, you can have the best background check, but you just never know.
School officials declined to talk on camera about Streeter's time at the school, but they say he passed all background checks at the time before he was brought on, including a fingerprint background check through the FBI. Granite Bay, California, 2002.
I still have this on my door, and I will probably leave that on there, for a little while.
That was until Sue Laura spotted him.
The way he drove around the neighborhood, I just felt like he wanted to rob a house here.
Laura tailed Patrick Streeter in her car and called police. That led to his arrest, a guilty plea, and a 12-year prison sentence. 11 years later, we retraced Streeter's steps from the school where he coached football to his old apartment and to the neighborhood he preyed upon. That's where we found Laura.
Yeah, he looks the same. And my kids, they were like, how did you know, Mom? And I said, you just get a gut feeling.
I'm pleased to announce the indictment of Patrick Lamont Streeter.
This week, Metro Nashville cold case detectives successfully tied evidence from Tiffany Campbell and Melissa Chilton's murders to Streeter. Laura had no idea that her tip helped keep Streeter off the street for the 11 years it took for cold case detectives in Nashville to secure an indictment.
I felt pretty good that he was, I mean, not about these girls, but I'm glad that, I mean, that's a long time ago to be doing that.
That spring, police gave Laura an award for her help. Our visit reminded her of something police told her in 2002. They were assuring her that Streeter would not be getting out of prison anytime soon.
They told me that they're pretty sure he had killed two younger girls.
Girls whose names she didn't know until Saturday. Girls who died at the age her daughter is today.